Over the next 2 years, the global sporting spotlight will be fixed firmly on Brazil. The FIFA World Cup kicks off in a matter of months, and in 2016, Rio de Janeiro will host the Summer Olympics. When the Games come to Rio, 2 sports will be making a comeback after a long absence. One is golf, and the other is rugby. The full 15-a-side version of rugby union last appeared at the 1924 Paris Olympics. In 2009, it was announced that Sevens would be a part of the Rio Games, and earlier this month, the International Rugby Board confirmed that the hosts would be granted automatic Olympic qualification. Rugby's burgeoning profile in Brazil has resulted in a 25% increase in participation in the sport since 2011.
It was really when the media caught on to rugby and said, well, Olympic sport is going to be here in Rio, where's the Brazilian rugby team? And then looked around and, hold it a second, where is the Brazilian rugby team? And so it was a really important symbolic moment for the rest of the country discovering that there is another sport which Brazil will have to have an Olympic team playing. So we're going to have to find talents in all of these communities, get them up and running, and there's enough time to actually get that to work in Sevens.
Justin Thornycroft is the president of Rio Rugby. Founded in the 1970s, it's one of Brazil's more established clubs and was for many years a magnet for expatriates from the major rugby nations who were living and working in Rio. Every week its members meet in the oceanside district of Ipanema to discuss club matters and play a game of touch rugby on the beach. Thanks to the sport's rise in popularity, Rio Rugby now boasts a growing contingent of Brazilian players. They field male and female senior teams, a youth team, and run a junior rugby school.
Brazilians, cariocas, which are basically people from Rio de Janeiro, they're really well known for what's called a jeitinho, which is a way of getting around any given situation. And in a rugby pitch, there's hundreds of little jeitinhos that you need to get to make a bit of magic, to make something happen. And I think the creativity which is here in all of these communities and which is native to Brazilians, I think will play a big part in what they can do on a rugby pitch.
Among the new wave of local talent is Marcos Paixão, who's known to his friends and family as Careca. The 21-year-old is one of 4 brothers who were drawn to the game after watching the Rio Rugby Club train at Ipanema, and he's gone on to represent the Brazilian national team. Dale Smith is Rio Rugby's Director of Social Projects.
When I first arrived into Brazil 8 years ago, the Paixão family saw us playing touch rugby on the beach, and they were all young, 10, 11, 12-year-old kids, and they asked if they could come and play with us, and ever since they've been playing touch rugby, and then they got involved in actual rugby, and Careca's turned into the player he is today, part of the Brazil national team, and doing weights and a lot bigger and really competitive.
I went and had a look and thought it all seemed a bit rough. So I said to myself, this sport isn't for me. People were grabbing each other and it looked pretty violent. Plus I was only small back then, so I didn't join in that day. But the following week, I went along and decided to have a go. I started to play with the others, and I gradually got into the sport. And here I am, still playing today.
Careca is from Cantagalo, one of Rio's shanty towns or favelas which are home to over 20% of the city's 7 million inhabitants. Cantagalo literally translates as singing cockerel. Like many of the city's shanty towns, Cantagalo was blighted by crime and violence for decades. However, in recent years, the Rio authorities have initiated a program known as pacification in the favelas, forced eviction of the drug lords and gang leaders in an attempt to regain control of these areas.
Yes, I've lost some friends and relatives as a result of the violence. Given where I've grown up, I've always been surrounded by crime, but nothing's ever happened to me. I've always been okay. Although this favela wasn't pacified until recently, I was able to avoid all of the bad stuff that goes on here. I was lucky enough to grow up in a strong family unit, where I was both respected and taught to respect others. So I chose to follow the right path. And despite being surrounded by drug trafficking and crime, I was never interested in getting involved in that scene. And it's the same now. I live a very peaceful life.
In 2011, Rio Rugby established the Cantagalo Favela project, introducing the sport to children from the local community. Its success prompted them to launch another program last year in Rio's largest favela community, Rocinha. Given that the Paixão brothers are such strong role models, they've called the project Rugby é Nossa Paixão, or Rugby is Our Passion. The coaching team features a number of players from Rio Rugby, including Careca. Children who had previously only considered kicking a football are now learning the basics of the oval ball game. They played touch rugby from the ages of 8 to 15, after which they can take up the full contact version of the sport. RAPHAEL VIANNA is the program's head coach.
The great benefit of rugby is the positive values it instills in people, such as teamwork, the desire to learn, and respect for others. These values have always been part and parcel of playing rugby. This sport also teaches you to respect your opponent, and that's something that's much more difficult to get across to people who play football. In rugby, you learn that passing the ball and supporting your teammate are vital. It's much more of a collective sport than football. So we try to emphasize these values to the children at every training session and hope they will retain them as they grow older.
Apart from bringing focus and direction to young people's lives, it's hoped that the project may also unearth a new generation of players capable of competing at the national level. Careca is well on the way to establishing himself amongst Brazilian rugby's top ranks, and when Transworld Sport was in town, he was playing for Rio Rugby in a state competition in the rural town of Inoa, an hour's drive from Rio. It was the first of 4 tournaments to determine which teams would qualify for the national club finals. Rio Rugby cruised through the group stage of the competition thanks to a number of tries from their talisman. In the final, they faced arch-rivals Niterói, and a predictably combative encounter ensued. In the first half, Rio were largely outplayed by their opponents and appeared to be heading for defeat. However, they went on to produce a stunning second-half performance. Three tries, including an opportunist effort from Careca, saw them turn the match around and emerge victorious by 19 points to 12, with Careca's outstanding contribution on the day taking him a step closer to fulfilling his Olympic dream.
It would be great to be part of the Olympics. Representing my country and playing on home soil against some of the world's best teams would be fantastic. If I keep training hard and improving, then who knows? Maybe I'll get the chance to fully establish myself in the Brazilian team and make it to the 2016 Games.